Good morning for 2 more minutes, LEC community. We've had such a fun morning this morning. Talking to some amazing organizations. All of them so far have been Kansas City based, about their organizations and what they got going on for next year. If you are just now joining us, we have spoken to Guadalupe Centers this morning. We spoke to Pembroke Hill. We spoke to Citizens of the World. And now we are getting ready to talk to Turner Public Schools. Here in a second, I will let them in and introduce themselves. Before then, though, know that we are watching the comments. So if you have any questions, feel free to post them in there. Also, all of the links and email addresses that have been spoken about already are in the comments. So we will be talking to Lauren and Alex, and I am letting them in now. Hi, Lauren and Alex. How are you all?
Great. How are you doing?
Good, good. I'll give Lauren a quick second to connect to audio. Zoom is fun that way. Hi, Lauren.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's nice to put faces to the names.
Yes. Thank you so much for having us today.
Yes, thank you for being with us. Lauren and Alex, that we have the comments. They've been on fire this morning. We have questions. Any links or email addresses that you mentioned will go. One of our team members is in the background and they're putting it in the comments as well. So feel free to let us know if there's anything you want to share. But let's go ahead and get started. Lauren, Alex, introduce yourselves and tell us what you do.
Sure, I'll go ahead and start. My name is Lauren Alio, and I am the parent and community liaison for the district. I taught in the district for 4 years before this role, and this is a newer role for our district and came out of a place of just realizing we needed to have someone dedicated to doing community relations and providing resources for our families, and I've been fortunate to be able to do that for the last couple of years.
I'm Alex Grogan. This is my 9th year in Turner, my 5th year as assistant principal at Turner Middle School. I taught Spanish for 4 years before that, and coached football, baseball, and basketball. We've got 2 assistant principals here at the middle school and then our building principal. So we kind of loop. So this year I'm with the 8th graders, but I kind of hang out with the 7th and the 8th graders here.
I love that. And I love that you both kind of started out as teachers. It kind of speaks a little bit to the culture of Turner Public Schools and the fact that you all stuck around. Thank you for your introductions. Before we get started, I know Turner Public Schools, the LEC, we're kind of more centralized in Kansas City, and Turner Public Schools is a little more on the outskirts. Tell us where Turner Public Schools is located.
Okay, so basically we are kind of sandwiched between the Shawnee Mission School District, USC 500, Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools, and like Piper-ish. So we're kind of I had never really been in Turner. I grew up in Kansas City, and when I got the job, it was about the first time I'd ever been in Turner. But it's kind of right off of 635, south of I-70, so kind of in that general area. So we're in Kansas City, Kansas, but our south border is Johnson County, and so we're kind of sandwiched right in there.
Nice, thank you for that. I think it's, like you said, Alex, it's one of the kind of least spoken about school districts, I think. And so knowing where it's at is kind of a good place to start. So to begin, if I am looking for new opportunities as an educator, why should I consider Turner Public Schools?
I'll start off. I'm going to share just a little bit about our district and community. To your point, not a lot of people know about Turner. I also grew up in Kansas City, and when I got the job here 6 years ago, it was the first time I had heard about it as well. And so just to give a little bit of information about both our district and the community, because they really do go hand in hand. I always describe Turner as being a small town within a large metropolitan area. As Alex said, we are in Kansas City, Kansas. We are a 1 high school district, and we have a little over 4,000 students. It is a really unique community. We are fortunate to have the resources of Wyandotte County and Kansas City, Kansas. And so we're able to connect our families and students with really there's so many resources in the county and in the city. But at the same time, the people who are from Turner and who work in Turner really describe it as kind of having a small town vibe. And to illustrate a little bit of what that looks like, my first year teaching in the district, I remember people saying, "Are you going to go to Turner Days?" And being a first year teacher in the district, I had no idea what they were talking about. But I quickly came to find out that Turner Days is an annual parade that happens in the community. This year will be the 31st Turner Days. So just to give you an idea of how long the history has been here. And we have elementary schools make floats. There's a car show, there's local vendors, our high school marching band and cheerleaders and dance team participates in the parade, and just thousands of Turner community residents and alumni come out for it. I went that first year and have gone every year since. And it's just really wonderful to see how many district staff show up for that event, people that are not from Turner, don't live in Turner, but work here. And I think that just really speaks to how our district staff really get invested in this community. I have found a lot of people don't just treat this as, oh, 3 o'clock contract time is up, I'm leaving. People stay after for the sports games and for the events. We are also fortunate to have a recreation commission that is kind of a part of the district, but it's separate. And they have also been around for as long as the district have, and they host several different annual events around the holidays. And again, it's not uncommon to see our district staff show up with their own families to those events, and just really get to enjoy that small town feel, and interacting with our families and students. And the fact that we see that happening in a district within a large metropolitan area, I think is just really special and just really unique. And like I said, it speaks to the uniqueness of like this small town within Kansas City. Being that there is just one high school, there is a lot of pride around the Turner Golden Bears, and we have a really supportive community, and we're really grateful for that. And while Turner does have a lot of history and traditions that we enjoy celebrating with the community, it has also changed a lot over the last 15 to 20 years in a good way. It's become a lot more diverse, and actually our Latinx family demographic is in the last few years has become the largest demographic in our school district. And when I talk to my colleagues and we have discussions about our district and what we enjoy about working here, I frequently hear people talking about they love working in a diverse district and community, not just culturally diverse, but socioeconomically diverse as well. And so you have that wonderful diversity, but then you also still have that small town, really close-knit feel. And so just being able to celebrate and appreciate both of those things, just from a community perspective, has been really great. And I'll let Alex talk a little bit more about the district.
Yeah, one thing that I would just kind of echo from what Lauren said is it really is a small town, big city. If you ask a kid where they're from here, they're not going to say Kansas City, Kansas. Everyone says they're from Turner. You're not going to find Turner on the map. There is no Turner, Kansas, but really every kid here says that they're from Turner. And I think that's something that's very special, certainly. We can kind of get into some of the more specifics as we go through this, but I think Lauren hit on a lot of the stuff I would definitely touch on. We have positive momentum right now in our district. There is a changing demographics. So I was looking at our demographics before this, and 15 years ago, we were at an 18% Latinx population in our schools, and now we're at 45%. So you almost tripled, and I'm sure that's reflective of a lot of the area. But you definitely see that in our schools. Since I've been here, it's changed, and it's changed for the positive. And it's definitely something I'm passionate about. One of the reasons why I love working here is to work with our Latinx families, and to be able to interact with them. And being bilingual has certainly helped with that communication piece. But you see a community here that wants the schools to be the best they can possibly be. They recognize our room for improvement, and I think everybody's on board to kind of keep momentum going in the right direction.
I appreciate that insight into the district. Having a 45% Latinx student demographic is huge, right? I mean, that's one of the, largest Latinx student demographics in the area. I know some of the numbers off the top of my head. And knowing that Turner has 45% is a huge deal. We know that representation matters. Kiddos who have teachers of color and teachers who look like them are more likely to graduate high school and pursue post-secondary, et cetera. So I'm really appreciative for you both and for the Turner School District for reaching out and, wanting to branch out into kind of getting access to a different network and perhaps a different community of educators. Thank you for that. So speaking of kind of what you all are looking for, there's two sides of the coin, right? Like, how do I know I'm a good fit for Turner? But when you all are sitting in interviews, what kind of stands out and what are you looking for in an educator?
Yeah, so we're actually in the process right now of doing interviews for next school year at the middle school. We have a couple of openings. And one thing, I don't want to take credit for this kind of quote, but one thing our principal, Dr. Weber, always tells candidates is, we can teach you how to curriculum plan. We can teach you how to manage a classroom, but we can't teach you to love kids. And so one thing that I think we expect from anyone that's coming here to work in any capacity is just they love our kids, and that they love our kids for who they are, regardless of what they look like, what they sound like, that they are valuing them as much as every other kid. And so above all, that's what we look for. Really, truly, that's not just like some cliche. If you're someone that's passionate about kids, we can harness that passion and make you a good teacher, help you be the best paraprofessional. But without that, there's really not a whole lot to work with. So that's our number one thing. Obviously we want someone that will stick around for a while. We want someone that's going to buy in to what we're doing here. We want someone that will engage with the community. If you're leaving here at 2:45 every day and not going to the sports games, not showing up at kids' events, that's maybe not someone that we're really looking for. We want somebody that is truly, truly invested in our kids, both in school and outside of school. And our community appreciates those people that show up at events, and they recognize it, certainly. So it's not just important to us, it's important to our stakeholders in the community at large.
I will also add to that, while we certainly understand that there are teachers who, just really want to focus on their classroom and, perfecting their craft in teaching, we really appreciate people who want to have kind of more leadership roles within the district. And we have so many opportunities, I think, being, a more mid-sized district for our employees to be on several different committees and different opportunities to, have a voice and to be able to play a part of like our district strategic plan and deciding where our district is going and what we need to improve on. And so definitely, looking for people who are interested in being more leaders in the district and having their voice heard and giving feedback.
I love that. You both have mentioned more than once, right? Being a part of the district in a different way than just coming into the classroom to teach, right? Like the football games, the parades, the happenings that are happening in the school district. That's really special. And I think it's pretty unique. So I can definitely appreciate that. So kind of down to the logistics, what those of you who are looking for opportunities maybe this summer or this fall, take out your pen and paper. Turner Public Schools, what are kind of your, and Alex, perhaps at your school in particular, what are your highest need positions that are open right now?
Well, so right now, like at my building specifically at Turner Middle School, we're looking for a social studies and an English teacher. We're in that interview process right now. We currently have 2 ELL para positions open at the middle school. We also have one at the high school. But across the district, there are a couple of elementary teaching positions that are available. There's a 2nd and 3rd grade instructional coach position. The high school has several teaching openings in math, science, social studies, PE, special education. And then pretty much across the district, we are in need of special education paras at all levels. I think it looks like just about every building has an opening right now. The high school is looking for a secretary / translator interpreter. We certainly recognize that as a big need to reach out to our community. We also do have a community liaison position that is currently posted. And then there are a plethora of coaching opportunities for sports at both the middle school and the high school.
We also have,
Go ahead, Lauren.
We also have some summer openings, like with our facilities and grounds crew as well. So if there's people that are, just interested in kind of getting a feel for the district, we do have some part-time work like that. And definitely, the paraprofessional positions, and definitely looking for people who are bilingual. We have some paraprofessional positions for our ESL programs, and the secretary positions as well. Looking for bilingual staff to fill those.
Yeah, so it sounds like definitely the bilingual and the kind of demographic there, the bilingual demographic is growing in Turner. That's awesome. That's great to hear. We have Gilbert in our comments. Gilbert, thanks for being with us this afternoon now. He says, I do appreciate your school's district's philosophy. We do need to look at the students' socio-emotional backgrounds. Thank you. Agreed. Thank you so much for making that one of your priorities. So in talking about the positions, sounds like you have a wide variety of positions open at Turner Public Schools. Let's say something you said kind of sparked my interest. What do I do? How can I apply?
Yeah, so our district website is turnerusd202.org. So turnerusd202.org. There's going to be an employment tab up at the top. And then there are tabs to view the certified teaching positions and then the classified positions. And then there's a tab below those that says apply here. Certainly you could find that easily through there. You could email either myself or Lauren. We could get you in the right direction. One thing that I would like to add that we've not mentioned quite yet is with regards to, I know you guys are particularly, Latinx educators. We are, as a building leadership team, we've been put in charge of a DEI committee that we've recognized some gaps in our district strategic plan and some needs for our kids and community. And that's an ongoing thing that we just started in January. And so we do have a DEI committee that is looking into making some changes and some action steps in order to best provide for our kids. So definitely that's something that I think if someone's got a passion for that, we're not there yet, but we're trying to get there. And we're passionate about that, getting to that point.
We, as you can imagine, we definitely appreciate that as the Latinx Education Collaborative. A lot of that work is happening right now, and we're kind of glad to see that there's an uptick in organizations and school districts making that a priority. It really is important in order for our students to be seen, to feel recognized. It's very important for just the sense of belonging, but also long-term achievement and morale. If you both don't mind, we have some questions coming in the comments. If you're not a part of this process, feel free to just say you're not sure. But Marisol has a great question. She said, on exit interviews, what have you all heard, or perhaps teachers you've known that have left the district, what have you heard that they would have loved to seen to continue to be a teacher or educator at Turner Public Schools that perhaps is kind of a shift for change?
That's a great question. So the majority of the time that people are leaving, to be honest with you, you'll see some people come in, and this is just me speaking from middle school perspective because I don't see the district level stuff. But we have people that'll come to a middle school and maybe it's their first teaching job and they get a little overwhelmed and they need a different pace. So there's certainly that aspect. But if we're talking about people that are leaving for a reason and they're seeking positions elsewhere, we have seen some people that see a need for us to do some work with our diversity, equity, inclusivity stuff. And that's kind of sparked some of our reason for developing this committee, because we do need to be a place that is safe for people of color to work at and our students of color to attend. So that's not the norm. We have seen that, but typically you're seeing people leave to go to at least from the middle school perspective, to go to a different level of teaching.
I appreciate that transparency and that honesty, right? that sometimes DEI, or perhaps the lack of, right, DEI focus has been a reason for teachers to leave. And that's I'm really, you know, glad, Alex, that you're being honest, because as a Latinx community, we know that it's important for us to be in these spaces in order to be a part of these conversations and oftentimes lead these conversations, right? And so I appreciate you all. So our community knows Turner reached out to us. I appreciate you all and your commitments to diversifying and making equity more of a priority. One more question from the comments. How does the school district evaluate in the hiring process the search for bilingual or minority teachers? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we, certainly this year we tried as a district to get to more career fairs that may have a higher Latinx population of educators. But that certainly is something that I think as we grow and our DEI becomes more efficient, more appropriate, I think we're going to naturally draw in those people. I think that word of mouth travels better than job postings on the internet do. So, as we continue to grow, I think that we are going to continue to see more applicants that are bilingual, more applicants of color. But certainly that's something that, if we have an applicant come across that is bilingual and can connect with some of our students that need some assistance in Spanish, perhaps, or our community that is obviously now almost majority Latinx, that is obviously a very, very big plus to someone that's doing the hiring. So, of course, like we have an ELL para position. It's our intent to hire somebody that is bilingual. If we ever have a secretarial position at our middle school open, we would love to have somebody that's bilingual, because a lot of times, like, I get the phone calls in Spanish as one of the principals, and it'd be really nice if there was somebody in the front office to greet our Spanish speaking parents. So it's very important to us. We're not at the point where we're getting a ton of bilingual candidates yet, but we want to be there.
And I think this goes back to the question of what are we looking for in employees, and just to kind of continue on what Alex had mentioned earlier about the DEI work and the recognition that we do have work to do in that area. We are really looking for people who also want to do that work, and who can bring that perspective to our district. And our district staff is not super diverse. And so that is an area that we are, we're wanting to change that. We want our district staff to look like our community. We want our kids, to feel represented when they look at, their teachers and paraprofessionals and just all of the staff in our district. So we are definitely looking for people who want to be a part of these conversations and do this work within our district. The other thing I would want to mention, and kind of related to the question of in exit interviews, why do people leave, as well as what we're looking for. I know I've had some people when I was teaching who they didn't, as with any community, we do have a lot of students who've gone through traumas and who have a lot of social emotional needs. And I think when, people come in not, being prepared for that, they don't know how to handle it. And we have a lot of professional development to try to help our staff be more prepared and know how to, help do what's best for those students that have those needs. But, I think anyone wanting to teach or work in our district, they really need to kind of have a background of understanding how trauma does affect students in the classroom and kind of what that looks like and how to best support them.
Yeah, well, I appreciate what both of you all have mentioned. Often things that get put on the back burner, right? Social emotional needs, language needs, demographic, ethnicity, right? Marisol, who asked those two questions, says, thank you for the acknowledgement of the need and implementation for the education and students and hiring practices. I think step one to DEI work, step one to a journey, right? Because you're never finished, even, us and people of color and organizations that serve people of color. step one to the journey is opening the door for the conversation, right? And providing the space. So we absolutely appreciate that. Marisol says, yes, that's where we need more professional development services for teachers and students. Thank you so much for saying that. I think, Lauren, in regards to your comment about trauma-informed practices and trauma-informed teaching. Well, Turner Public Schools, any final thoughts or kind of tidbits you'd like to leave us with?
Yeah, the last thing I'll say is if someone is watching and is intrigued by the Turner School District and wants to learn more, we do have a strategic plan document that's available on our website. Our strategic planning team is made up of community members, parents, local business owners, staff, and we write a plan every 5 years, and then each year kind of change some of our action steps with the goal of meeting those by the end of that school year. So if you're interested in kind of seeing what direction our district is going in and what things that we are prioritizing, we just created our new strategic plan last summer, and that is available on our district website under district strategic plan. So I would recommend take a look at that document, make sure that Turner seems like a place you want to be. And then we also are really active on Facebook. So that's another great way. We post videos, kind of what's going on in our schools. So just another easy way to get a better idea of what we're all about and the forward direction that we are moving in.
And I would just add to that, as far as the district's priorities, the district is prioritizing improving our facilities. We passed a bond last year or the year before in order to get us a brand new middle school. Our current middle school, this building I'm in, was built in 1955, and we've got a brand new state-of-the-art middle school that will be ready in the fall. We have a brand new district activities center that I really think would rival pretty much any sports complex in Kansas City. And our district is committed to providing our teachers a very competitive salary. I truly think that our starting teacher salary is as good or one of the best in the metro area. I think we're one of the only districts that provides teachers with like a bonus or a stipend in the fall or around winter time if they've gotten some kickback from like insurance money or something. But I think in my 9 years, I've gotten some sort of a little bump, probably 5 or 6 of the years, and that's just very rare. So the district is committed to taking care of its employees. And if someone out there is interested and this is a good fit, we certainly welcome more people that care about kids working with us, and we'll take care of you if you take care of our kids.
I love that. Marisol again in the comments says, amazing, good job, Turner, on securing that bond. We appreciate that. Alex, Lauren, what are your email addresses just in case anybody has further questions?
Sure. Mine is AIELLOL at turnerusd202.org.
Sorry, I could get myself unmuted. Mine's Grogan A, so GROGANA, and then also at turnerusd202.org.
And as I mentioned, all of those links that were mentioned, the strategic plan link, the website, thanks to Lexi, one of our team members, is in the comments right now, as well as the email addresses. Alex, Lauren, let's stay in touch. Thank you so much for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, LEC community, I learned something today. Turner Public Schools is not a school district I know very much about. And so I've been having so much fun having these interviews because I'm learning about all of these wonderful school districts. Gilbert, I see you saying thank you so much for the program today. It's greatly appreciated. I will continue to monitor your podcast. Yes, please do, Gilbert. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, even Twitter. We have lots of stuff going on all of the time. This is part 2 of our virtual career fairs. We have kind of conferences and summits throughout the year. We have live streams throughout the week. We have Ask an Educator on Thursdays where we highlight Latinx educators. And so, yes, stick with us. If stick with us. We are just one school away from the end of our event today. Let's check out our agenda one last time. We met with Pembroke Hill early this morning, Guadalupe Centers, Citizens of the World, Turner Public Schools, all amazing things going on. Each one of them mentioned DEI work and it being a priority for their organizations, which is kind of music to our ears. Dr. Clark, hi. I see you in the comments with a great event. Thank you so much. Last but certainly not the least, we have KIP KC at 12:30 here very soon, actually. And so here in a couple of minutes, we will have a representative from KIP KC with us. In the meantime, check out the comments because Lexi, thank you so much. Lexi Rios is our amazing operations director here at LEC. She does amazing work. Thank you, Lexi. She has posted all the links, all the email addresses that you've heard so far today in the comments. So make sure you check that out. Turner, I see you in the comments as well. Thank you for having us. Thank you for being here. Like I said, KIP KC, just here in a couple of minutes. So give us a couple of minutes to kind of set up in the background and we will be with KIP KC very soon.